Call the order. Time is
6:09.
call to order. Roll call.
Brunner,
Here.
Rasmussen,
Here.
Nadowski is excused for a military commitment.
Citizens' appearances.
We do not have any citizens, and the minutes are flipped a little bit there, but we do have Tim Bloom is here from Harder's. He's here to give an update on the garbage recycling program now that we are 4 months in, a little over 4 months in with Harder's.
Okay.
This sheet,
Who's
yeah.
over here, huh?
Yeah. I give you maybe a quick heads up. We do have, as part of our contract, we do get quarterly reports from Harder's. I formatted the reports on garbage and recycling. You've got the dates, you've got the weights and the tonnage on what was collected. And then for recycling, it breaks it out by material. Just as a quick note, we had gotten some numbers at the end of the year, the last couple of years with Gratian, and the garbage, we were in the 500 to 550 tons per year range. These figures from March 3rd through July 21st, I've got a number there, it's about 195 tons. We're in line for about 480 to 500 tons. So those numbers we had in the past were pretty close to what we're seeing. And again, this is just 4 months. For garbage, but then with recycling, then in total, you can see the tonnage, and then obviously it's broken down by plastic, metal, paper, glass. The last couple of years, the estimates we've had for the amount of recycling we've gotten, or the amount of recycling that's left the city, has been 80 to 90 tons. With these numbers through the first 4 months, we're on track for about 40 to 50 tons. Again, it's 4 months. It looks like it's on track to be half of what we were thinking we were getting the last couple of years. But again, that's 4 months. We'll see how this goes through the end of the year. But again, it's just a real quick idea that we do get hard numbers, and they are reporting that info to us. Other than that, we did invite Tim to come and talk a little bit about their experience, anything that they've seen now in the first 4 months.
Everything on our end is going really good. I guess the only thing I would like to recommend, but it's totally up to you guys, maybe going to every other week recycling. I think you'd get more people recycling, because we're seeing a lot of recycling in the bags during when it's trash only. And you're gonna get that with once a month. Where does people go with all this stuff? So they're just mixing their garbage and recycling in their bags. There's some people that are doing really well. They got 4 containers of recycling. Some people are very avid recyclers, you can tell, and there's some people that just don't care, where maybe went to every other week, we get more recycling out of your community. I guess that's the only recommendation I would, that I would do, on your guys' behalf.
Was that discussed once before?
Yeah, and actually, the reason that that the city council selected monthly was because we threw it on the citizen survey last year.
Okay.
I remember we asked 2 questions. One was, we skated around a little bit. Should we issue bins, or should we leave it the way it is, where people provide their own bins or bags? That was like a 50-50. And the question was, do you think if we gave you a recycling container, would you recycle more than you do now? And we talked about how that question could have been phrased
Okay.
differently, but in general it was 50-50, so we decided to keep it the way it is for garbage and recycling. And then for the schedule, we asked people weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, what would be your preferred pickup schedule? And it was like 60% that said they wanted to keep monthly, and then I think it was like 18 to 20% said bi-weekly. There was maybe a little less than 10 that said weekly, and then a lot of people just said, I don't care, or I don't know. But it was like a 60% said monthly. That was one of those things that we had said we asked the public, what do you think, on the survey?
Yeah.
And, as a side benefit of the survey, it was something that you based a policy decision completely off of what the survey result was.
Tim, how does this compare to other towns, basically the same size?
You're trash is considerably heavier. You guys are averaging about maybe 34 pounds a household on a given week. Majority of our communities are lower 20s. You know,
What about the recycling?
recycling being's really low. Yeah.
Ours is low.
Yep, you can tell that people really don't, like I said, there's some residents that you can tell they're collecting every plastic, because I was out here in the road last week actually, you know, and I do that from time to time, go out on routes and just see what's going on in the communities, and I mean, you can tell there's avid people that are recyclers, and you can just tell, you can't even distinguish what a recycling bag or a trash bag is, you know.
So we're higher on trash weight and lower on recycling, which
Yeah.
kind of tells you, like you were saying, more
Mhm.
people are just tossing stuff.
More
Yeah.
people are
It
tossing.
kind of seems to make sense. Of why?
And there's numbers on what a good ratio to recycling and refuse would be. I mean, we're in line for about 10% of all the waste that goes out of town is recyclable or recycling, which is not, like he said, it's not great. It's not real good.
Like one of our villages of Greenville, I mean, if it's not getting recycled, they're mad over it. I mean, if they got a bottle coming out of a trash can that somebody in the city sees, they get a ticket for it. I mean, they take recycling serious. I mean,
So some cities have plastic bag. I mean, clear. Is that?
yep,
Were you saying that, or
Yep.
that way you can see what's in there,
Yep.
obviously, and people are aware that they're going to be.
And some of the residents, they do that, or they got their bins, you know, labeled plastic, aluminum. I mean, there's some residents that do that in this city here, you know. But I would say maybe 70% of the people probably really don't care very much. You know, unless it's cardboard, that's about it. That's the only recommendation that I could, you know, see helping you guys out. I mean, everybody in the community seems to be really nice when you're out there. I mean, all the residents seem really nice to work with, and you guys are easy to work with.
You finding all the streets easy enough that, you know?
Yeah, I think we started out, you know, we had a couple glitches, but, you know, talking to Patrick or Becky, if there is something missed, we get it taken care of the next day. I think the communication line is really smooth and open, which is always a good thing.
Did we send out a flyer or any information to the general public as to how to segregate for recycling?
We didn't, but they collect, what is it, commingled or combined? I mean, as long as it's recyclable, you can throw it all in one bin. And all the separating gets done, I would imagine, either at the transfer station or at the
Yep, transfer
landfill. Yeah.
station.
Yeah. And that's one of the things where, maybe that's even within the last 10 years, that's something that kind of kicked in where instead of having your paper out at the curb and then your glass next to it, if you throw it all together, you'd hope that it spurs people to recycle more. But I know, like at my house, monthly pickup means that my garage ends up filling up with a lot of recycling, and that's. But we try to recycle as much as we can too, you know.
Right.
Haul it all Little Chute?
Yep, out of Gamey, yep,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. And again, just as a reminder to you guys, the contract we have with Hargers, we started it in March, and we had approved it as a 2-year contract, but it's really not 2 years. It's March 2015 through the end of next year, so it's a little short of 2 years. And then you guys had approved an option year for the city going into that 3rd year. So for sure, we have a contract through the end of next year. And about this time next year is when you'd be talking about picking up the option, shopping it out again, you know.
Is there anything on our end that we need to change or do differently compared to how you're getting service before, or?
I think on our end, just one of the questions we would have is, because we only do the monthly recycling, how has it been for you guys with, like, the work day? And I mean, I know
It's longer, that's why I came out here last month, and we were
Sure.
out here by 5 o'clock, I think, that that night, you know, is kinda helping the driver do things a little bit differently. Otherwise, they've been leaving like 8, 10 o'clock, you know, at
Mhm.
night,
Yeah,
just because you gotta take so many more trips to the landfill, you know, but
yeah,
work with the driver more on doing things differently and
sure.
Yeah, it just, you don't know unless you try the bi-weekly, of course. Are people in a habit to where they could care less? You know, or everything goes in it, you know? And there's no way you can really tell it's those same people that are recycling are the ones, or maybe you do know.
I've seen
Know what I
it,
mean?
I've seen it like in our farm communities, they used to be monthly. Your guys are the only city that does once a month. We've had a couple of communities that did once a month, and once we went to bi-weekly, you see the recycling skyrocket.
So
Yeah.
it's just
Because they're not
lack
storing
of
it like you.
place to
Yeah.
put
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
One
Right.
one note for you guys, and it's not on the agenda for any action tonight, but if you'll remember, we collected all the quotes back in the summer, like fall of 2014, and we put together, or I put together the budget, assuming for garbage, we had a set number that was pretty close, and the budget number for garbage is good to what we ended up approving. But with recycling, we had put in the budget to cover for bi-weekly recycling so that there was enough money to cover it. But the budget gets done in October, November. We didn't actually make a decision on who to go with and what the schedule was really gonna be until March, so we already had the budget set. There is some cushion with the recycling if you wanted to entertain picking up more service. You know, either twice a month or every other week, or, cause there's a difference there sometimes where you get an extra pickup, but
I can see where that would be beneficial.
we could take a look at it. Maybe what I'll do too is check in with these guys or check in with other communities and just see what their ratios are
Sure.
on how much they're recycling and how much is going out.
Does Harders have its own flyers on the importance of recycling
Yeah.
or to generate a greater interest in that?
Yeah, we do that. I can actually give you some of the townships we got started in September. I can just show you a sample of what we put on every cart that we put out there, you know.
Okay.
I'll email it over to you tomorrow.
That'd be great.
And it also like has instructional
Mm-hmm.
on it for,
Yep.
like I always wondered, do caps stay on stuff like peanut butter jar caps?
Mm-hmm.
Certain things like that.
Yep.
Because I've heard different things or.
Yeah, that would
Sure,
be.
yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind seeing bi-weekly if picking up the
I think most
percentage.
communities, they just, I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, it's, you
Mhm.
gotta promote it as much as you can. It's the future, you know.
Yeah, I know that once a month, right after Christmas, can create a lot of paper in one's garage.
Mm-hmm.
And cardboard.
Yeah.
And plastic bags are wrapping paper.
Yep.
I think we should take a serious look at that for further discussion.
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, maybe if you guys wanna take a look at it, we get something set up, you know, maybe by November, that way Thanksgiving time and the Christmas wrapping season comes, we're ready to rock and roll, you know, maybe get in line for there and put flyers out and
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Shall that be an agenda item for another meeting here in the future?
Yeah. Yeah, we can
Okay.
do, if you
Next
wish,
month.
if you wish.
I would like to
Put it on next month's agenda.
discuss further.
Okay.
This is a very nice report, by the way.
Yeah, and you guys
Thank
can,
you
you
for
guys
that.
can go on to Outagamie anytime and get these numbers. You don't have to wait quarterly for us, or if you want them sooner, just let me know. Don't be afraid.
Sure.
Okay.
So you can go right on the landfill website and get this printed
No,
off?
you gotta call the ladies there and then they'll supply it with you.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they get it's the tickets or whatever when the trucks pull in.
Go on the
They weigh
scale.
them all up and they keep all the info there.
We're good.
Okay, well, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you very much.
yeah, not a problem.
Just to let you know about that.
Yeah, if anything else you guys need or issues, concerns that we need to take care of, don't be hesitant to letting us know.
Sounds good.
Well, fine, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep, you guys have a good week.
Yep, you too.
Yep, nice meeting you. Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on, item number 3, approve minutes from the Joint Public Works Finance Committee on July 13th, 2015, and the Special Public Works Committee on the 20th of July, 2015.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Joint Public Works and Finance Committee meeting on July 13th, along with the Special Public Works Committee meeting on July 20th.
And I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Number 4, engineer report.
The first item is the treatment plant update. They are moving along. They're working on their sheeting and excavations for the large structures, so they're working on that. They do have a pay request in here, which is in your packet, pay request number 2. Upon approval, these signed pay requests will be submitted to Patrick this week for final approval at the council meeting. So their request today is $241,673.56.
Just quick note, the Cedar did approve it. The scanned version though came across a little bit better, so that's what we put into your packet so you could read it a little bit better. But it is approved by Cedar, so
Okay.
otherwise it wouldn't be before you guys to review.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the payment to Myron. Payment number 2 for the sum of $241,673.56.
And I will also second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Item number B, Lakeshore Drive construction update. Discussion on this, well, the update right now is DeGroat will be moving in on Monday, mobilizing equipment and starting digging. They may scratch around a little bit Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday morning they'll start laying pipe. So they figure there'll be a couple days on pipe. They've got 2 catch basins to relocate, and then they're gonna start cutting in the road, so they're thinking end of the week, hopefully they'll have their curb and gutter guys set up end of the week, beginning of the following week, and then get it curbed, and then when they're done with that, go to pave it, and then be done. So it's gonna turn around real quick, but they are coming in early next week.
Okay.
The sidewalk extension, we talked about that at the last Public Works meeting, and I did put an estimate together, and with the sloping back into the yards, Patrick and I met with the property owner, and they're in favor of it. But the sloping back of the yards versus walls, we're looking at about a $12,000 sidewalk job because of all the excavation and so forth. So Patrick and I talked about it. We are going to put the curb cuts in the ramps, or not the ramps, but the curb cuts in the curb when we pour the curb this year. And then we propose to put this into a 2016 project and get actual competitive bids for it. Instead of,
Oh, the sidewalk.
instead of,
sidewalk
The
part.
curb cuts will be a now and then the sidewalk
Yeah.
coming, okay.
my estimate was just my estimate based off of numbers I've seen from the contractors. But, by putting it competitively in 2016, then it can be also potentially included in the TIF district that's being formed out in that area
Right.
to help
So
fund
that's, and that's new for you guys too. That's, speaking with the mayor, we talked about, the valuations came out a week ago. And when we were looking at creating the TID for AgriPure, we were talking about being real tight with the capacity that we had to close 1, open up 6.
Right.
We will have enough capacity to fit in the land that the subway sits on right now into a TID. If we would want to form a TID, and as they're building the gas station, get it completed this year, and we have a development agreement that doesn't rely on a TID, so the developer paid their share, we're doing our share. We could capture the gas station's increment for future upgrades on the road if we needed to do that. We could also take a look at any future development that might occur on that property, because there's gonna be 6 acres left in between the gas station and basically the hitching post and the
Sure.
pond.
Yep.
But if we were gonna consider a TID, we would have to get it in this fall, because once the gas station goes up, there's too much value there next year for us. It'll be out of our capacity. We wouldn't be able to put it in. So we talked
Okay.
a little bit about proposing a TIF district to get created this fall, capture the gas station, future development, and then help us pay for the road, because there's a lengthy stretch of road that's still gonna sit there yet that we might have to pay for. The sidewalk, because it's going to furnish, or it's gonna furnish pedestrian traffic to get down to this development. That could be a TID eligible expense, rather than the city picking up $12,000 to $15,000. That could be funded through a TIF if it's approved. Ellers, we've been working with Ellers. Ellers is aiming for like a September 1st plan commission hearing on a TID.
Okay.
And we might have to have a joint review board, which is the county's rep, school district rep. We have to have that the same night too.
All right.
So it might go pretty quick, but the reason why it might go quick with a TID is that we have a pretty tight window that we could get one. And if we don't do it this fall, it's very likely we won't be able to do one to try to help promote development down there, but.
And I think we should pull out all stops and get that.
I think the biggest thing that him and I talked about is
Yeah.
the outside chance that maybe we someday could get a little motel out there.
Mhm.
And that would be nothing but help us, you know, if we got a TIF out there for sewer,
Sure.
water, and paving the street and.
everything, yeah,
The
you're
whole
right.
works, tax base, everything.
Yep. I agree.
Obviously, they own the land, but if something decent comes in, I can't believe that they wouldn't sell it, you know, that.
Or
The
lease
way
it,
they are right
you
now.
know,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they're trying to develop it too, and it's
Yeah,
6 acres, so,
Think Quick Trip would wanna come in there right next to
yeah, probably not anymore,
Oh.
probably not anymore, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's real quick. What we're thinking is if we get the TID created, it's something we can put in the TID. And if we don't get it created, maybe we have a little bit better window for next spring to look at sidewalk through there, because we're at the end of the window here to try to get it in, you know?
Okay.
We can always put that in with the, any projects we bid next year.
yeah.
Just add it as an item.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so that's just discussion item.
Right.
The update on the water tank inspections, they're all completed. We're waiting on the reports. They had 2 of the reports done last week, and they're finishing the 3rd one this week, and then we should have all our tank inspections completed for the DNR. East Alfred Street assessment update. That's the assessment for the curb and gutter and the driveways. That is going out, we'll have the public hearing at the September Public Works.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to get the bills out by the end of September, and they'll be payable this year. If not, they go on a tax roll. And all the financing is the same as it was in the past. There's no changes with that.
The big thing is we just have to notice that we did hold a hearing back in the summer of 2014. We'll want to hold another one. Just to clean that up, and then we'll get the assessment out this fall.
Next item is yours.
Yep, and this is just a quick update that with the aeration basin and the sludge conveyor, the aeration basin again was 3 months out, and we're getting up to the 2-week window to when we'll get that done. And then the sludge conveyor we had just approved last month. That one had about a 3 to 4 week lead time, so we're
On the
coming up on a
aeration
week's
basin,
slowdown.
is this one that's putting the new slides and all that?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yep. That's when we're gonna drain the tanks
Yep,
and then,
yep,
yep.
I first was thinking of the settling pond he dug there, I was thinking,
Oh, yeah.
no, yeah, I got it,
Mm-hmm.
So that concludes the engineer's report.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Ted.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to item 5, line 5, resolution number 570, compliance maintenance annual report wastewater 2014.
Yep, so this is a quick resolution, your cover sheet, you have the full report in your packet. The cover sheet is basically our report card. It gives grades based on all of the different categories that we are tested on and report on. And again, it's for wastewater, it's our report for the year 2014. Last year, we had gotten A's on everything except for influent flow and loadings. And the note we had in 2013's report was that our wastewater treatment plant upgrade will address the need for increased capacity for flows and for loadings. Obviously, we are just getting started on the treatment plant in 2015. This report is for 2014's activities. And so last year we had a C on the influent flow and loadings, and our GPA was a 3.81. Again, we got A's on everything else, on effluent quality, BOD, TSS, phosphorus, biosolids quality and management, our staffing, our operator certifications, our financial management, and our collection systems. So we're doing well there. Again, in 2014 now, we've gotten A's on everything, except because we haven't started the treatment plant in 2014, our grade had dropped to a D. And again, we have the note that our project is going to be moving forward, and this will address everything. So our GPA is what they use, dropped down to, I believe it's 3.72. Again, we're still getting A's in all the other areas, and because we've awarded construction on the treatment plant in 2015, we should see a improvement. Hopefully in 2015, but maybe not until the next year when the plant is actually up and running.
Just as a side note, I mentioned that before, about 2 previous public works supervisors came to the meeting with this, and he read the whole thing, page for page, for the committee.
I mean, we can read it if you'd like.
The next year he came with it, and I think it was Don Morgan at that time, he said, please just give us the first
Yeah.
page.
Who did this report?
Don Anzia at the treatment plant he fills out 90% of it, and then the financial management part is where I kick in on our budget and how much we're setting aside. And
So he grades
well,
his own treatment plant,
he enters the info into a automated system,
Program,
and then it
and then
takes
they
that
kick
data
out
and then,
they kick this out and give you the GPA. But as you're going through
Oh,
though,
okay.
they don't tell you.
No, he don't want to grade himself.
I would
He
like
puts
that
the numbers
nice
down,
one.
and then they,
I got you. Okay.
So like right here, if you look at like page 3 is where we get into our influent flow and loadings, and it's fillable. So he fills
So
out
that's
the
the
form,
data he puts in.
and then
All right.
according to the answers he puts in behind the scenes, it docks you or doesn't. So yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a feather in Weyauwega's cap there,
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
Yeah.
treatment plant.
Very good.
Yep.
It's always been good, ain't it?
Yes, it has.
Always had very good reports.
Yep. Yep. So it's going well. Again, this is a resolution, so we would need a motion to approve and then also a roll call vote on the resolution. That's number 570 again, is the resolution.
So you said we need a roll call?
A motion and a second, and then the roll call.
You're
Yep.
just looking for an approval.
Yep, to recommend approval of resolution 570.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 570, the Compliance Maintenance Annual Report for wastewater for the year 2014.
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Well, I'm sorry, roll call vote.
Roll call vote. sorry.
Brenner?
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Very good, sorry.
Okay, line 6, discussion and possible action on park brush stump clearing along Emerald Street.
I will ask that we hold this probably to next Monday night. We do have quotes. The problem we're running into is there's clearing of brush, either chipping or hauling away, and we're finding that hauling away is probably going to be cheaper. Not hauling it to our yard waste site because we would be paying to
Twice
chip
what?
it there. And then the stump clearing is another aspect of the project. And then once that stuff is cleared, the next phase would be trying to grade out that area, and then potentially fill that in with gravel. Not all the way, but maybe 60 to 70% of it towards the top of the hill. The problem is there's a couple companies, Lind, Fox, that we're getting quotes on. They're quoting not the gravel, but I'm getting quotes on hauling or chipping, some scraping, and then from there I'm waiting on one of them to get me comparable, because I've got $3,000-ish for some of the work and $6,000-ish for a little bit more of the work, and we're clearing that up this
So you
weekend.
got that segregated, you have it broken down into categories, do you?
We're getting
Is
there.
that
We
what you're
just need
trying
to
to do?
fill out the numbers.
Sure.
And I say ish because we're still waiting on
Mhm.
some quotes, but ultimately we're gonna do all the work. It's just a matter of getting all that stuff cleared out of there so that they can take a better look at how much gravel might be needed and how much work
I'd like
there.
to see that get done, because I got a lot of people asking for it. You guys
Right.
made a mess over there when you gonna clean it up.
Yeah. So
Okay.
because of the numbers involved there, we had to get some quotes on it because it's, like I said, thousands of dollars.
Sure.
We're gonna have a vote on this next Monday night on who to get the work to, and the thought is by next week they'll be in there clearing all that stuff out of there.
That'll make some people happy, eh?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Somebody even, when I called for quotes, a company that isn't going to get the work had asked if they could just burn it all off. I said,
Sure, go ahead. Have hot dogs and everything, you know?
yeah. I think it was joking, I hope, but yeah. We're not doing that.
No.
Not doing that.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I'll hold on that. I do have the quotes. We'll run it through to next Monday night if that's okay.
All right.
Okay, moving along, number 7, discussion and possible action on John Deere tractor leases for 2016.
Yep. So just as an update, you do have the packet of info on the larger tractor on the 6125R. That's the one that we had the last 2 winters. It's worked out very well for what we've needed because it's a brand new tractor. It's actually, in 2013, we had the value down for about $130,000 if we would buy the whole tractor. Last year, when we had to insure it, it's insured to a purchase or retail price of about $170-some thousand.
Really?
And we're able to get it for $16.99 per engine hour for a lease. And then we can add $2 an hour for the loader bucket on the front. What that means is we're able to get a brand new tractor the last couple of years. Again, $170-some thousand in value, and it's costing us, if we have it for the whole year, $8,500. And again, on the breakdown there, we charge 1/3 of that to snow removal, and then 2/3 of it goes to the yard waste and other miscellaneous street work. So we're able to get that tractor for $2,800 for snow removal, which is a very good deal. We also bought the plow blade that we own, that we throw on the front of that. A recommendation on our end would be to continue the John Deere tractor lease. I believe when we first got this, when we got the quotes, we had considered them to be good for 2 to 3 years. Because we talked to Service Motor. Service Motor wouldn't cut us a deal like this. We could lease it, but then we'd have to buy the piece of equipment at the end. Would have been 70 to 80 grand. We did talk to Swiderski, Reister and Schnell, and then we also talked to Caroline, which is another John Deere dealer. But the way we got the rate was, first it was from Thad recommending the Village of Coleman that only uses this for their snow removal. And on our end, we tried it out to try to have it as an accessory piece of equipment. It's worked pretty good for us, I think. But we had talked about how this would not get rid of the need for Fox or now the county that we talked to.
Yeah.
I think it just definitely pays for itself, though, don't it?
Oh,
That's-
definitely.
That's really cheap.
And it's brand new,
That's
under warranty. We do have 2 John Deere tractors because we got the smaller one last winter. That one there is not a rush on because we're able to get, if you want to keep the smaller one for sidewalks with the broom, we can get that one on about 2 to 3 weeks notice, so that's
Okay.
coming. This one though, typically by the end of August, we do have to put it in an order to get it all on its way and furnished by December to get here. We would
Just-
recommend that we continue this program because it's going.
Just for comparison,
well.
my son out here is farming, and right now he's leasing a New Holland tractor, not as big as this one. He's paying $45 an hour.
Triple.
Yeah. For what we get to use it.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal, I think.
Yep.
And last year with that blade on, they did a lot of work with it and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot more work than you anticipated,
Yeah.
once you got used to using it and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, once they figure out how to use it, it works
Mm-hmm.
great.
Now, this is a year-to-year lease.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What would happen if you went out on a limb and told them you want to lease it for 2 years?
this way you get a new one every year.
Yeah.
Is that what the deal is?
And it's
Yeah.
and it's
Okay.
under warranty then. The warranty covers it, the basic one covers a year.
Okay.
And so then this one you get a
Actually,
fully
what
brand
they
new.
do with them is they get them back and then they sell them off as a municipal used lease tractor, and they actually mark them up because they figure the cities take good care of them. So the farmer, whoever's gonna go out and buy one of them, looks for them, rather
Okay.
than one that was used in farming somewhere, they'll get one from the city, but,
So they just look at the hour meter on it, huh?
yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So again, that would be, the rate that we've got is staying the same. If we order it in August, we can get it in December, and even if there's a delay at all, the tractor we have, they let us keep until the new one gets delivered. So it's
Well,
been a good deal.
What months don't we have that here? Because you said for yard waste, we use it.
Yeah, well, the way we figured with the budget is we had put out, if it's 12 months at $8,500, we've put 1/3 of that. 4 months we figure we're pushing snow, and then the rest of the year we've got it for yard waste or other use.
Right, but when is it not on our premises? Because you
Oh, we always have.
we always have, and then it's just the newer one is
this-
coming. Is
right.
what you're saying? You're swapping.
Yeah.
out. Okay.
Yeah, because they will not let you keep the tractor you have for longer than a year either. We found that out.
Yeah.
Last year was our first transition, and we said, well, hey, the tractor we got's all
It's right here, and
loaded up,
All
all
set to go.
set, and they said, no, we can't.
that's not how it works. Okay.
Right. Which is great because you get a brand new one, and
I think all the canning companies do that too, they go through their canning season with brand new ones, and then they're done for 10 months or whatever, and
Sure.
they go out as lease tractors like this. It's a good deal for them, it's a good deal for us.
Would you like a motion on that to carry to council?
yeah.
Then-
So the recommendation would be to continue the John Deere 6125R lease for 2016.
And I'll make a motion to continue the John Deere tractor lease for the, whatever that model number is.
6125R. Yep.
6125R, thank you. Lease for 2016.
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That
then-
motion carries.
Yep, and then just a quick note on the other John Deere again. That's the one that worked a heck of a lot better than we thought it would, just clearing sidewalks, because we talked last year about our fees in the past for clearing people's sidewalks for them. That it was like a $50 base charge, and then we would charge them for whatever it cost us. And what we found was, in the past, we used to send a guy out either with a snow blower, shovel, whatever it would be. And when we had this tractor, we went out and we did 42 properties in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And if you charge each one of them $50, we thought
Yeah.
maybe we would make up some of the costs. But on that one,
Make
we
it all
would
on
have
the
probably
first
paid
one.
for the tractor and then some. And so we held off. We didn't charge last year, in part because in talking to Attorney Kelly, we wanted to make sure that whatever our cost was is what we're charging. Otherwise, it's considered a extra tax that you're putting on people. So,
Yeah.
but it worked out pretty good. It kept everything clean. And again, that one we got a little bit more or less lead time, so we'll probably bring that one up in September, maybe even October.
That worked out pretty
Consider
nice
that
on
one.
some streets, especially on the,
Mhm.
down here in the bridge and that, they go down there with that big broom on there, they clean it up, that was nice.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, there was days that they spent 2 hours out there shoveling and chopping, and
Right.
now they go up and down it once or twice with that big broom on it, and
Yep. Yeah, that one worked pretty good too. So that's all for that one, but I do appreciate on the John Deere between the two. I know leasing isn't always the best thing, but these are really good deals we're getting though.
Seems to be really
on these.
good for our situation.
Yep.
Yep.
Good, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Number 8, line 8, discussion and possible action on street light at East Alfred Street and Lincoln Street.
Yep, this is just a quick heads up. We do have a request from Vicky Hermans, who's on the northeast corner of Alfred and Lincoln. When we redid the road last year, we put in brand new sidewalk, basically to catch from the healthcare center, from the mobile home park, to get them back to Lincoln. And in that corner there's a concern from the resident that that's not very well lit at all, that there might not be a very good lighting if kids are using that at night or anybody's using the sidewalk. We did put in a request with We Energies to get us a cost estimate. And what they'll look at is existing poles that are there, see if they can add a light on a pole, or if they have to put in a new pole. We didn't yet get the costs on that, and I'll be honest with you and tell you that when it's gotten to be dark, I've meant to try to go down there and check it out, but I haven't. I can imagine that with the trees and that there is.
Yes, I
probably
went down there and it is definitely, I thought there was light there before.
The only light is at the pump house.
Is that the only one down
I
there?
think there's one on the outside there.
2 houses down or 2.5 down.
Yeah.
to
We
the
need
east.
one at that corner, cause that corner is really dark. You know what I mean down there?
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah, last street in town or whatever.
Yeah.
There should be a light there, I know that.
So we put in a request again to get some costs.
We can take one. There's one couple available out on X.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to pull one of them out.
Oh. Sure. Oh.
Yeah.
The other way. X.
Whoa.
The other way, X.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
And now I do. Yeah. I remember now. We did get, when we put lights out on Mill Pond Circle, I believe that was about $3,000 for them to throw lights on existing poles, and that was for 2. So we're thinking that it's probably going to come in half of that, probably for light. But they do, We Energies goes out there and they scope out the lighting that's there now, and they'll try to get the best coverage on the poles that are there if they can.
But there is a pole there, right?
Well, they just moved, there's a pole
'Cause they just
across
moved a bunch of
on the other side, but they moved a bunch of them when we did, well, they moved them twice, I think, right?
Which
And then We Energies
power
moved poles
poles?
when we did the B14 utility and roads, and then I think as part of their upgrade, they might have even moved them again.
No, I think they try to do everything the same.
Okay,
It just depends upon make sure they got in between the back of the curb and the sidewalk.
that's right.
And they might have.
There was
missed
a
one
there
or
was
two
a
of
pole
those.
on her property, I think, that was set, and then they had to move it
Yeah.
a little bit, though. That's probably what that was. But she did put in a request, so we put it on the agenda.
Sure.
And again, I'm still waiting on the info from them. But if we can get that within a week here too, I will get that run to you, if that's okay. Maybe even for next Monday night.
Sure.
Okay.
And next on the agenda is discussion and possible action on supervisory position in Public Works
Yep.
Utilities.
So you have a draft,
Excuse me, do you need a motion on this streetlight scenario
not
to review it further and give you the authority to go ahead and review the costs?
I'm anticipating I'll have costs hopefully this week.
So then you can just submit it to council?
Yeah,
Inst-
or,
okay.
I mean, if you'd
All right.
like, we could have I'll check with Bruce as the chair of the committee, maybe a quick meeting before council, or just have it at council, we'll figure it out.
All right.
But-
Excuse me, Bruce. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay.
So on the supervisory position, again, we do have, Eric had left, taking a new job. We did talk about staffing with the department, and I think what we're probably gonna look at doing is posting 2 positions at the same time. And not that we would look to hire 2 positions immediately, but one would be the idea of bringing back the supervisory position. You have a copy of it in paper, and it's clearly marked draft because it's still a work in progress. What I found was the job description that we had was okay, but it left out some park items and also some other things having to do with budgeting and computer work, reporting, and that. I found probably 4 to 5 different communities that have sort of a middle level supervisory position job description, but definitely a working supervisory position where they could get in and get their hands dirty on the general work. you can see that this is a 4-page, pretty in-depth job description. What I'm looking at doing is just cutting it down so that it's not so long, because there's some things that are written in here twice. On the very top, in the past, we had Public Works Supervisor. It's a draft title. What I've seen a lot of communities do is like an operations supervisor, because then it's out on any type of operation that we have, park, streets, public works, water, sewer, anything. So I don't know that we'd want to limit it to just public works, because it also includes utilities and all that stuff too.
A lot of your staff is mixed across each department.
Yeah, yeah. So what I would be looking for is, in the next couple days here, I will clean this up. This is pretty wordy, again. What I think in general we'll look at is we'll get this posted like next week, middle of next week, after council has a final review. At the ordinance committee, we're talking about the reporting hierarchy for this position and the appointment authority, or the authority to appoint this position. And Attorney Kelly has taken a look at what this position is. In the past, in our ordinances, we had it listed as a officer of the city. It's not really an officer in the way of myself or the attorney or the assessor. It's more of a management level employee. So I think what we'll probably look at is, in the past, your public works supervisor had a contract directly with you, an employment contract, and then the council and the mayor voted on the position because it was thought to be an officer or an official. What we'll probably do is run whoever the successful candidate is, I'll run it through for review with the committee. We don't anticipate that it would have a separate contract, because usually when you get a contract, it's to differentiate that person from your personnel policies. If you've got good personnel manual, good policies, then you should have everything covered. And all of these positions, myself included, were at will. So I mean, we can have contracts, but there's legal authority for you guys to review, remove, discipline, whatever you'd like to do. It's not really changed by having a contract or not. So again, we're looking at posting this position roughly at a wage of, the magic number is probably $50,000, and it will be plus minus with dependent on qualifications. Back in 2010, 2011, when you had the last public works supervisor, it was in the low 50s. The employee that left was in the middle to upper 40s, so it's not really a big jump. But this would represent more of a daily management, planning of the work and things like that, so it'd be a little bit more than what we had. And the reason why we would post for 2 positions is we've talked about our staffing, and potentially for next year in the budget having the need for maybe a half an extra person at the treatment plant, and then reviewing our seasonal employees to see whether we should cut back on those and if we need another full-timer. What I think we'll do is we'll post them both at the same time. That way, if an internal candidate is picked for the supervisor, we already have our list established to try to fill that existing position. And if an external candidate is picked, we've already got a jump start on who we might look to hire if we add a line worker. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So that will be the thought. Again, the supervisory position, it's handed out for you to take a look at. It's very wordy. Again, it's going to get cleaned up and maybe even shortened up a little bit, but that's kind of what we're working with right now. So as you review it maybe this week, let me know if you've got any comments. If you have any quick comments now, let me know, but
Nope, take it home and read it over, just think of it.
sounds good.
Looks
And again,
to
it
me-
is,
Something that we definitely need. Probably some of this is a little redundant, but
and I think some of it really is.
like you said, you get it cleaned up and it'll be,
Shorter the better.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. A lot of this was, look at other job descriptions and find things that you like, but a lot of it's saying the same thing different ways, so.
Yeah.
Again, it is a draft and we're cutting back from that.
The thing is if you keep these important bullet points in print, it will help you in enforcing accountability,
Sure. Yep.
because it's spelled out in black and white, so that's something to consider.
Yep. Yeah, and some of these things too are personnel policies that it's already spelled out in policies, so some of them we could probably cut out if we needed to. And a lot of it's common sense too, you know. So this one, if you don't mind, I will have you guys take a look at it. If you need any changes or recommendations, let me know, maybe later this week. That would be
Okay.
good.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, sounds good. Moving on to administrator report.
On top of the things that we've already talked about, just a real quick yard waste site update. I think I talked to you guys a little bit about concern maybe that we have the yard waste site open all the time. We don't have cameras or anything like that set up, so there could be people that are not authorized to be dumping in there. And we've gotten heads up on some commercial companies coming in and dumping, and we did call, we had Mapes Trucking come in. They had purchased a chipper from Country Stone, who had done our chipping in the past. Mapes was around $400 an hour for chipping. The problem with the chipping is you don't really know how long it's going to take, so it's easier to get quotes on the hourly rates.
Sure.
The other companies we had were $500 plus if you could get them to show up. Like last year, we ran into the problem where we had a couple companies lined up, but they just wouldn't come. So we did get some chipping done. In the meantime, there's been commercials on TV about this company Go Green out of the valley,
Yeah.
and I did talk to them. A lot of the Fox Valley, Fox City communities
Excuse me.
haul their compost to these guys in Menasha, and then they either take it for nothing or they resell compost basically, and they'll also take chippings or they'll chip material for you. Well, because we're far enough out of the Fox cities, if we wanted to get rid of our compost, we would have to truck it there. Well, that's cost that probably isn't going to be reasonable for us. But what Go Green had said was, if we had a large amount of chipping, they would be interested in coming out. Their rate right now, which we don't need chipping right now, but the rate right now is about $300 an hour, which is cheaper than what we've paid. And they sell the material to paper companies and a couple other companies in the valley.
Oh.
And typically they kick back right now about $100 for every $300 you spend. So if we paid them $300 an hour, we could probably look at recouping $100 in the profit from selling material.
So they're
That depends on-
they're processing that and selling it to a pulp
Yep.
mill?
Yep. Yep.
I'll be darned.
Seems to make sense.
Why
And
didn't
being in
somebody
the
think of
valley
that
with
sooner?
the
Yeah, that's
paper.
a great idea.
Yep. So that's one thing that we are looking at. The other thing that I think I've talked about, maybe not so much in the committee, but we've talked about combined locks and how I had heard that Combined Locks has a good camera system at their yard waste site. And the legend was, if you rolled into Combined Locks and you drove in illegally to dump, it would work sort of like an automated ticket, where you'd get a ticket mailed out to you. Well, the legend was a little overblown in that it's not automated, but what they have is, and I just have a couple pictures for you guys, they have a camera that sits in their yard waste site. So that top page is the camera itself. If you could move it, we'll show everybody.
I got this.
Okay, or we can pass them around too.
Yeah.
So the first camera sits in their yard waste site, and you can see it's mounted on a pole. It's got a sign on it. It says site under 24-hour surveillance. And then you'll see the next page then shows they have like an oil recycling bin that they have in their yard waste site. And then they also have a sign there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it
That
must have a
says-
sticker cons.
Have to have a
thing
sticker. If you don't have a sticker, even if you're a resident, you don't have a sticker,
on it. Sure.
you could be ticketed.
Cameras, right?
That's an overview of their horseshoe drive-in that they have. So you drive in, you drive out, and that is a photo. It's the quality of the photo that they get as people drive in.
You get their license.
So,
This photo was taken from that camera.
and on the back of their truck, that truck that's there, you'll see
There you
to the
go.
left of the license plate, there's a little square. Well, that's where they have people put the sticker.
So they're covered.
So what happens is, and you can probably throw it out here, but I will point,
Okay.
not to let this all out of the bag for them, not that our meetings are that big of a deal, but this camera is not the camera that they're capturing footage on. I'll leave it at that. On the oil, they have the camera, that picture that shows you one side of their site. The camera is actually that black. It's a trail camera, and they've got the brand. It's about $100 to $150 camera, and that camera, as people drive in, is at the perfect angle to pick up everything you need to know. What they told me on this setup is all the cameras, everything they got set up in here, cost them under $300 to get that all up and running. They also told me that their tickets, no questions asked, if you don't have a permit, you don't have it on your car, you're getting a ticket for $176 for illegal dumping. They told me the first year they did this, they sent out 85 tickets, which was like almost $15,000 in tickets for illegal dumping. Now, the big thing there is not to try to find all this new revenue. The thing that's killing us is people are just flowing into town and dumping out there, and then we have to pay to get rid of it. And so this would be more along the lines of getting a good view of who's in there, who's dumping what, trying to make sure that we're not getting stuff that's not supposed to be there, and also making sure that the commercial trucking companies, if you don't want them to dump in there, that they're not. And if people from out of town, if they're not supposed to be dumping there, making sure that they're not too.
How many tickets do you get, or stickers do you get? Like if you dump with two vehicles, I mean,
suppose
do you
just-
buy them? Are they?
Yeah, and they're here. We used to sell tags, or we sell tags. They're $1 a piece.
That's $1 for that rear
Right.
rear mirror.
These guys
Hanger.
sell them for $5 a piece,
Okay.
and the big thing is they're like I said, you get control of your site there. You make sure people that are supposed to dump, because we're wavering on considering closing that gate up more often, just because we don't know what's going in there. Now we've kept it open
Yeah.
to try to
What do you
Be a
see-
convenience
what are
thing,
you
but-
seeing? How do you know people are coming in from out of town, or?
usually, if I'll go out there and I'll watch for a little bit. We've got our guys go out and dump as they trim trees and trim things out of the park. Our guys will go dump. The street sweeper dumps because we allow him to dump the sand there.
Right.
Well, when he's sweeping, he would see the big local commercial trucks pull right in next to him, lift up and dump 30-foot high piles of branches and stuff.
That explains it then.
Which the problem with that, and that's a hard thing too, because sometimes they're cutting trees for City of Weyauwega residents, but sometimes they're not, because those days that they were coming into town, some of the companies, you see the signs around, so you know they're in town. But when our street sweeper was here, he would see trucks come in on X from out of town, or in on Alfred from out of town, or Slough Road. And when they come in from out of town and dump and then leave the same way, that's not great. But because we don't have the cameras and because we don't pay somebody just to sit there and watch,
So people like Midwest Tree Service, when they come in and they take some trees out and chip them up, they can haul over there.
we've
if they're doing
tried.
it for a citizen.
Well, we've tried not to allow that, but we've also, because we just leave the gate open, it says residents only. Now the problem there is, are those companies charging the resident to haul away the stuff? Because chances are they probably are.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come dump by us, they don't have to pay to get rid of it, the
Right.
company. And then technically residents are then paying double if your tax money goes towards cleaning up the yard waste site.
Wow.
So it's something we're looking at, but when I heard about the cameras and all that, I mean, we've gotten quotes of 10 to 20 grand to get nice cameras set up in there. But if you could go out with trail cams and
Don't those things
dome
flash?
cameras,
Don't those things
You
flash?
can get them.
Those automated ones, though.
No, you can get them
The
that
trail
don't.
cameras?
Just get them with a really high pixel for clarity on the license
So like
plate
the
numbers.
evening,
and-
you're saying it would still work?
Yeah,
Without a
they
flash?
got some pretty good trail cams out now. They don't flash, but they take some pretty good pictures and they come right back to your computer if you want them to.
Yep. And one of the things we looked at was Weyauwega Online has wireless hooked up on our water tower. Star Dairy has coverage through here too, or Star Wireless does.
Mhm.
If we wanted to hook up a camera to shoot back or email pictures to us, we'd probably be able to do that if we wanted to. We could hook something up, but here what they do is they just put the memory card in and then they just swap it out every couple days. They go grab the card, plug it in the computer, and away you go with.
Well, I would like to see you put some up there, residents only sticker, the fines on there, $100 and whatever fine, whatever it would be for us, right up front. You don't have a sticker, can't get a fake camera up there in one spot, and
Yeah, I like
you
this
know,
one.
and that, it's
Mhm.
obvious. That's really what it's saying. It's obvious, but then you get it from somewhere else. If that, from a different angle,
Mm-hmm.
however you see it proper.
Yep. And then one of the things we'll probably have to take a look at is, do you want to allow commercial people to haul for city residents? And if
Well,
you
what
do,
do they usually do? What do they do for someone that's out in the country? Go to the nearest city like Weyauwega and dump it illegally.
Well,
I mean, what do they do
you're
with
right.
it?
As you say, if they're charging to just
that's
cut
the
your tree
problem.
down and charging to dispose of it,
Then you should be charging them.
they should be paying to get rid of it. I mean,
Mhm.
Maybe you could actually, if they do a lot of work in the area, charge them an annual fee.
Right.
Here's your annual
Some
fee.
communities do that where there's $200 or $300 and they use it whenever they want.
yeah,
Yep.
that would make sense.
But then you'll see them coming from New London too.
That ain't no different than a garbage truck. There's a fee there, but he pays a fee when he dumps on the other end.
The only thing with that, like I said, they come from New London and say, well, I'm paying a fee over there, I'll bring in from New London. I mean, I don't think, or
It-
wherever.
It would
And
have
it should
to be.
just for the city residents. That
You-
could get out of hand, like, they'll
Yeah,
never
it
know. I know
It
where we're
could.
coming from.
when they sneak in to dump, like I took pictures after we had allegedly commercial dump in there. I mean, it was higher than we could pile it because we don't have equipment big enough. And it would, if we're looking at $300-400 an hour to chip this stuff and get it hauled out, you'd have to charge quite a bit because if they're bringing a lot when they're sneaking in, when you let them in, they're probably bringing a whole lot of stuff in too. But we'll talk about that. We're not going to get anything changed to turn it around for this year to overhaul this whole system. But
Well, can't
Well,
we
it's
at
gonna
least
get
get a
worse as we
sign
get
out
into
there?
fall,
right, yeah.
Hey, can we at least get a sign out there and a trail camera?
Oh, we could, yeah, definitely. We could check it out. I think, and I won't because we're on the
Right.
camera here. I'm not going to say what we will do or what we won't do. But
Yeah, or at
We
least
we'll
signs
address
we
it.
saying-
discussed this once before with the camera and the sign. I think Nick brought it up at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
That whole idea sounded good to me as well. I mean, maybe it'll curtail some of this.
Well, even a sign
Behavior.
that says, residents only by permit, fines will be, that curbs a lot of people are
right
still
here.
honest enough, you know what I mean? It could curb some right there just because the sign's right up front. It could say surveillance because, to a certain degree, if someone's out there monitoring it once in a while, but yeah, I would, at least a sign that says residents only, that gets
we
some
have right
people-
now.
We do have that, right?
But it doesn't say anything about ordinances or
Well, I'm
fining.
saying fines and so
Yeah,
on.
that part we would have to
'Cause
add.
that can scare somebody knowing that, and it should.
Yep.
But I don't know why we can't organize to get some kind of a camera, cheap camera out there to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for the costs that they're talking about, under $300 is.
Well, whatever
A
they
good
did,
deal
we
we
don't
should be
have
looking
any
at,
horseshoe drive kind of a thing, but it would have to be right as soon as they pull in, on the
You'd
fence
probably
or
just
something.
catch them twice. You'd probably catch them on the way in and catch them on the way out, probably. And
Catch you on the way in, you can kind of see what they're bringing in there too, depending on the angle of your camera.
yep, yep.
Speaking of the compost, how is that going? Are they turning it? And are we to the point where we've got viable compost now, or?
What we started with that, we're getting good soil and stuff out there.
Yeah.
The problem is that whole pile that sat there when we first started
Yep.
There was one big pile that we picked up and we started moving it into rows. So when we started, we didn't start from scratch. We started with whatever was sitting there. There's a lot of junk in there.
Yeah.
And so one of the other quotes that we asked with Go Green or a couple other companies is just to check and see if we could get it like screened somehow, because when there's topsoil, you'll
You
see that it's
You
screened.
can run a magnet over it.
And I mean,
think
but
it's
if you go out
spoiled.
there, you'll see like dog toys and like some junk that's in there too.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's not.
They have to have
It's
one
not
of them
great
screens they
stuff.
set up and they dump it on there with a bucket and
Yeah,
screen it through
yeah,
when they do topsoil.
yeah.
Amazing different things people throw in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and because it was built on, from the best that we keep learning now, is that used to be sort of the dump, or a dump in the good area there, and just filled up. That you don't really know what's all underneath there either. A lot of stuff floating up, and
Floating up, right?
but we're working on it. And I think it's more convenient for people that it's open more often, but then you get some headaches of it being open more often too.
Can you go and take compost now?
We technically cannot give it away because we've done some temperature monitoring on it, but we got to go out
Okay.
30 days, every other day. We got to get 15 readings. You can't do it on 2 consecutive days. And it's got to be over 131 degrees every day for 15, and then it's considered cooked enough by the DNR that you can then give it away.
Okay.
But right now we cannot actively tell people that we're getting rid of it, but it's close, real close. It's just trying to get some of the junk out of there. you know.
Weyauwega sells it for $5 a pickup. We've been getting some for a job over there.
Yeah. And
But
that was-
then they have someone there to collect that too, so that doesn't make any sense to.
Yeah, you
So
probably end
they
up
give
with
it
a net,
away
yeah.
is works for us then.
Yep, and that was the goal when we started 2 years ago, was to try to not pay to get rid of it. We thought if we got a
Right.
decent enough product, we could probably get people to just take it.
Yeah.
And we're learning. Every year, something different. So,
Well, anything else from you? Is that
nope, that's pretty much it. We're just still working on the budget yet, and the first kick at the budget will be next month. We'll run by some items through you guys. Okay?
okay? So
Okay, Patrick. Thank
setting
you.
public works meeting for next month. Same day as always. Same.
Yeah, the finance committee, because usually you guys are on the second Monday, and the first Monday is Labor Day in September. And so last year, the last couple of years, I think the whole schedule's gotten backed up a week, so then you went to second, third, and fourth Mondays. Finance, Public Works, full council. But finance had mentioned they would move it to, is it the 14th? I'd have to look.
That's this
The second
September
Monday?
14th.
Second Monday?
Yep.
And the thought is, Scott and Keith are on both. Mike then would be the other finance committee member, and then you're with Public Works. The thought was potentially on the 14th of September, you could just have a joint where you have them both.
Yes.
And then
Sure.
you keep council on the third Monday, and
Sure.
we stay on schedule.
Okay.
So if September 14th sounds good?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I believe we hit it at 6 p.m., but I'll double check that with finance.
Okay. If nothing
Make
else,
motion adjourned.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seven
No one
seventeen.
opposed.